A study found that around 52% of men experience some form of erectile dysfunction, and that total ED increases from 5 to 15% between ages of 40 and 70. Though the chance of ED increases with age, it's still very much possible for young men to experience ED. And as a sex coach, I hear it from actually young men all the time that they experience ED. So today's episode is dedicated to ED. And with us is the best person to talk about it. It's Will Richards, who is a Canadian author living in Montreal. And he's the author of the book called The Mystery of the Missing Erection, a self-help guide, which offers behavioral, psychological, and emotional strategies for getting it up without taking pills or supplements. Hi, Will.
Hey, Dr. Tara, how are you?
Excellent. Orgasmic?
Oh, that's pretty good.
In your book, The Mystery of Missing Erection, you discuss your symptoms of erectile dysfunction and your journey as well. And you've been really open talking about that. So can you share your story to my audience?
From my experience, I mean, I was single for 2 different periods of my life. I was single between the ages of sort of 20 and 28. And then I was single again after a 15-year marriage in my 40s, between 40 and sort of 47, when I had this problem, quite often. So, and I think the first thing that I would want to say about it is that it puts you in a very, very dark place. So if people have had this happen to them, I certainly have a great deal of empathy for where they're at and how confusing it can be, how isolating it can be, how you can feel, really sort of worthless or sexually worthless. And it can be a really, really challenging thing to overcome. And it's also not something that is easily discussed. So
Yeah.
I
I feel like a man's masculinity is so attached to their penis, right? Like whether or not
absolutely.
it works, what is the size, what's the length, what's the girth, are you cut or uncut, what does it smell like, do you have hair on it, is it veiny? Like, there's so many different things about the penis, and like a lot of men that I know attach like their value and manhood to their penis. Like it almost like it fucks up your whole perception of yourself if you have a small dick. And like
Yeah,
it
no,
really it has a huge impact. So I can't imagine consistently having ED. Like that would be
and
that'd be
it
so,
doesn't have to be consistent. I mean, if you have it once, it throws you for a loop,
yeah,
uh,
it
and it just increases the chances of it happening again. I mean, I guess one question, maybe just to throw back at you, like, have you ever had been with a man when they were not able to get an erection?
Yeah, actually quite a few times. I would say one was like a consistent partner who consistently had ED, and then 2 other times that I can remember were kind of like my friends would benefit, or like a hookup partner
Mm-hmm.
that those 2 instances though were more related to like substance use. And that happens a lot, if you're super
Yeah.
drunk or you've done some kind of drugs, like it affects you that way. But with my consistent partner, my boyfriend at the time, it was really difficult as the receiver. It
How
was
does it
like
make you feel?
my boyfriend, the one that had ED consistently, made me feel 2 things. Like the first thing is, wow, like, are you not attracted to me? Right.
Right.
Which I think is the most like quote unquote popular response that most women will have. And then the second thought I have is like, is there something about you that I don't know?
Mm.
Because people don't come clean about their, and I shouldn't say come clean, like people don't necessarily want to share their sexual past. I
Mm.
know quite a few men that have sexual traumas or like were molested as children that wouldn't share until like way later. And after all of this drama that we have, you finally tell me that like, oh, it might be because of this. I'm like, oh my God, I would have tried to help you, or at least like go to couples counseling with you or something if you had told me. But Yeah, that's long story short, the relationship didn't work out because there wasn't good communication from the first place. And the ED part wasn't the main issue, it was the catalyst to
Right.
us realizing like we're not on the same page on anything.
Well, with the very informal research that I've done on this topic, I've come to the conclusion that there are really two kinds of men. One is men that have had an incidence or maybe several incidences of not being able to get it up. And the second are those that are going to have them. So everyone is going to have this problem. If you have a penis, you are going to have at some point in your life a time when it's not working the way that you want it to. It makes me think about the word erectile dysfunction. I don't think it's dysfunctional at all. It's totally normal. And what we're going to see over the next, as we talk, hopefully I can clarify this idea that sometimes your penis is going to get hard, sometimes it's going to get an erection, and sometimes it's not. And when it doesn't, something is going on there that needs to be addressed. And it's actually quite a healthy thing. It can be quite a helpful thing. What I'm talking about is a psycho-emotional sort of ED. And it's really important to distinguish a pure physical ED from psychological or emotional ED. If you can masturbate and get hard, if you can watch porn and get an erection, you don't have a physical problem. Your body is obviously allowing you to get erections, and you're just not getting them when you want to, which is in the bedroom with your partner. But if you cannot get an erection at all, this is really, really serious. It can be a sign of cardiovascular problems or even an impending heart attack. So if you're not getting an erection at all, you need to go see your doctor, your physician, and get things checked out.
To be honest, like most people, I would say 99% of people that say they have ED don't have that kind of physical medical.
I would agree.
Yeah, they have the psychological, emotional ED. So I really want to focus on that. And was your experience that too? Psychological, emotional ED?
Absolutely.
Okay. So actually, after it happens for the first time, and a lot of my followers are Gen Zs, so they're young. They're like 21, 22 and are having ED. So what would you say, like, okay, let's say I'm a dude, I'm 21, had my ED for the first time with my girlfriend, and now I'm ashamed and I'm too scared to have sex again. Like, what would you say?
Whether you're 21 or 41, like it was in my case, doesn't matter. You have that ED for the first time, you are freaking out.
Yeah.
You don't get it. You're with this partner that you think is sexy. You don't understand why this is happening, and you're at a complete loss. And in my case, I felt terrible. So I started to look at like, okay, what are the key differentiating factors between when I'm getting it up and when I'm not getting up? And the easy one off the bat was, okay, well, when I have a girlfriend, it's not a problem. So what is it that's different between having a girlfriend and not having a girlfriend when I'm having sex? Well, I think it's, for me, it was pretty clear, like there's a safety and an intimacy with a steady partner that you don't have with a more casual partner. But at the same time, that could easily lead to the conclusion, well, if you don't want to have ED, don't have casual sex. But that's not what I wanted. I did want to have casual sex from time to time. And secondly, that also wasn't what the evidence suggested, because I did have times in hookup type situations where I didn't have a problem getting it up, but some I really did.
That's like an interesting story. And I think for every single person, it's different on how they come to be, like how they come to experience ED. But let's kind of go back a little bit to like what makes an erection happen.
I think that's a great question, because I think that a lot of the times we view an erection as this really conscious thing. Like, an erection is a penis getting hard, and you can see it, you can taste it, and you can touch it. But what I really feel is that there's something else going on, because I cannot will myself to get an erection. Like you and I are sitting here talking. If you said to me, Will, I want to see your erection, it's impossible. I can't make that happen on the spot.
Maybe you can.
Something else is going on there. Or another way to look at it would be this: like if I'm watching porn in my room, I'm going to get an erection. If I'm alone, I'm going to get an erection. Now, if I take that same porn video that I'm watching with the same computer or the same phone and bring that into a cafe somewhere where it's full of people and turn on the video, there is no way I'm getting an erection. Absolutely not. Why? Because I'm not safe. I don't feel good there. There's all these other people around me. It's not appropriate. So something is not, even if I really wanted to, it would be impossible. So something is going on there that is not conscious. And that's why I say that an erection is an unconscious act. That there is something going on in a man's unconscious that allows him to get sort of free and feel good. And once he does, those erections start flowing. If your unconscious doesn't feel safe, then you might have problems. And that sort of leads directly into, like, you know, what can you do if you're in this situation where you're not getting erections when you want? You know, what are the sort of solutions that you can come up with?
I think the solutions to ED that I saw that you were talking about was how to short circuit your subconscious, right?
Safety and intimacy are key for getting an erection. And you're in a longer term relationship, probably your unconscious is going to feel safe. Now, there can be reasons in a long-term relationship as well that you're not getting it up. But for this purpose of this conversation, we're going to kind of focus on more the shorter term dynamics. So if that's happening, you need to figure out a way to allow your unconscious to feel safe, even if it's in a hookup type situation. So how are you going to do that to seduce our partner? And the reason for that is that by courting your mate and by seducing your mate, you're going to do certain actions and certain activities along the way that is going to allow your unconscious to feel good. So one of the things that I realized when I looked back at when I had ED and when I didn't have ED was that I could be in a hookup situation, but have maybe sort of wined and dined my partner ahead of time. Maybe the sex wasn't happening on the first night. It was happening on the second or third or fourth time that I had seen the person. And then there wasn't a problem at all. But if I was in a situation where the woman indicated to me, you don't have to do anything. I want to have sex right now.
Oh, like come over, like let's hook up.
My male brain, my conscious side was like, this is fantastic. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to spend any money. I don't have to cook any meals. I don't have to play guitar. I don't have to do any of these courtship things that I might do. I just get to have sex. And then I'd get in that situation and nothing worked. And I think the reason for that is that what I came to realize is that the art of seduction, or the art of courting a partner or courting a woman that you're interested in, I think as men, we think, I'm doing these things to get, like if I'm courting you, Tara, I'm going to do these things to get you to like me. I need to impress Tara with my guitar skills. I need to bring her over for dinner and impress her with my cooking skills, and to do all these things so that you like me and that you're willing to have sex with me. But the reality is, I'm seducing myself. I'm doing these things so that I can feel safe. And what I mean by that is that let's say I meet a woman, okay? The first thing that I do when I meet a woman is I try to get them to laugh. When I tell you a joke, I'm like creating this little small amount of vulnerability to see, to try and make you laugh, but also my unconscious is watching. My unconscious is seeing, how does she react? How are you going to react to my joke?
Yeah, that would be my question. What if I don't laugh? Will that like mess you up?
Of course, I'm going to be wounded. My unconscious is like not going to feel good.
So fucky fuck after.
Yeah, I'm on to the next person. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah,
what an interesting test.
Yeah, exactly. So but that's sort of the first little thing that I'll do. I'll try and make somebody laugh.
Okay.
But then let's say that works, okay, and then the laughter is flowing and I'm feeling good. The more you laugh, the more I'm going to try to make you laugh even more. And with each time, I'm getting more comfortable. I'm showing more vulnerability, and I can see that you're receiving that vulnerability in a safe way. So if that's all going on, I'm going to say, hey, Tara, do you want to come over to my place for dinner sometime? And hopefully you say yes. And that's another step in the level of vulnerability, because now I'm going to show you into my home.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to hopefully clean up my house and get my act together. I'm going to invite you into my house. I'm going to cook a meal for you.
I
But
feel
again,
like guys in their 20s have like the worst apartments.
clean up your apartment, guys. Come on, get with the program.
So
So
I like go back a little bit. So what if I'm just challenging you, okay? Because I feel
yeah,
like the audience will be like, oh, what if, right?
yeah.
What if I'm not a funny guy? What if
It
I'm
doesn't
like, dude,
matter.
I can't tell jokes. Like,
Of
I'm not
course,
a funny guy. I'm a
of
more like
course.
intense guy, or I'm a more kind of whimsical guy. Like, what do you
Yeah.
say? Like, what other
These are the things that I do in my seduction courtship dance. What are yours?
when you
What
say
is
seduction courtship, it's so interesting. I've not heard anyone said courtship for so long.
Yeah, I know. I
Courtship.
know.
So for those of you that are listening that don't know what courtship is, it's rizzing her up. You gotta rizz her up, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for bringing it to thanks for bringing it into the 2020s. Appreciate it. But so everybody has their particular dance. Every peacock has their own
Yeah.
feathers. Every man has their own way to do it. So I'm not saying do it my way, which is, laughter, dinner, guitar, dancing. And every time you do one of these things, you are preparing your unconscious. You're allowing your unconscious to feel safe and secure. And if your unconscious feels safe and secure, it's going to allow the erections to flow. So the first thing that you need to do if you're experiencing problems with ED, the first thing you need to do is make an effort and express your vulnerability in different seductive ways and see how they react to that. If you do that, you're going to be well on your way to getting erections when you want them to.
Oh, that's
So
so
that's the first one.
So like you can bring flowers.
Definitely buying things works because it's a vulnerability thing. You buy some flowers. If they're like, daffodils, I hate daffodils. Why did you buy me daffodils? Then again, you're not going to get that safety.
Yeah.
But if they receive the gift with love and with kindness and with care, then you're going to feel good. But even better is, to go to these places where it's like, what is it about you that you like about yourself that is special and unique about yourself? And how can you show that in small little ways to your potential mate, to the person you want to be with?
So maybe if I love art, I can take her to art museum for our first date and share a little bit about like the art and why I love it and kind of share more about myself. And you're saying if I do that, my dick is more likely to work because I'm being vulnerable and I'm like kind of acclimating my body to like feel comfortable and confident with this person.
Look, think about this. When you get into bed with somebody, it's a pretty vulnerable situation.
Yeah.
You've got all your clothes off. They've got all their clothes off. And it's just the two of you in bed. It's a highly vulnerable situation. If you start there, or if you go there too fast, I mean, some people can do it, and that's fine. But if you're struggling with getting it up, slow things down and be vulnerable in smaller little ways so that you can get there eventually, because your unconscious and your penis needs to know that you're safe with this woman, that once you take off all your clothes, you're going to be safe.
I get this question a lot. I'm 25. I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 months. I sometimes can get an erection, sometimes can't get an erection, but more so cannot get an erection. I love her so much. What's wrong with me? Like, what would you say to that?
Seduction and courtship still applies. Like you still need to be doing these things to make sure that the connection with your partner is intact. My answer is a little bit vague because I probably have to know a little bit more about that particular person, that particular situation.
But you're saying being more vulnerable and like sharing more about yourself and that like seducing part and kind of flirt with your partner, raise her up, like all of these things can help you feel more comfortable and confident. And that was your first solution. What's your second solution?
So number two is And I think this, I mean, I think it again applies to people in a relationship, but certainly for those people where they're in a more hookup or casual sex situation, is you need to get ahead of the ED situation. So, so what I like to do, and I think this for me, what I mean by this is like you've got to tell your partner. Okay, you've got to tell your partner before it happens.
Oh,
Now there is a time and a place to do this.
yeah.
Maybe not by text, or
So
maybe
not by text, huh?
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
think
maybe
it's
not.
better in person?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think
Okay.
there's a time and place for this. Like probably, my favorite window of opportunity for this is after the first kiss, but before we get to the bedroom.
Okay.
So the first kiss is going to indicate that, yeah, at some point, either within the next few hours or a few days or a few weeks, we're probably going to end up in bed, hopefully. So it's a good time to, so it would be after that initial indication from your partner that I'm attracted to you sexually and you're attracted to me. So it'd be a good time for that talk.
So how should I tell my date that I sometimes experience ED?
Sure. So what I say is the following. I say, look, I really like you. It seems like, things seems to be going well. And it seems like, at some point we might end up into bed together. And I'm really excited for that because you're really hot. I'm really attracted to you and I really like you. But I got to tell you that, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's happened before. Sometimes I have a problem getting an erection when I want to. And the reason why I want to tell you that is because I don't want you to think it's your fault.
And you're saying
So
that disclosing this is better than not.
if you only take away one message from this podcast, do this. And again, you have to do it at a particular time and place. You don't do it, you don't do it just as soon as you meet the person or whatever. Like
Right.
there's got to be a little bit of chemistry. There's got to be a little bit of physical contact, but then it's a good time to do it. Every time I've done this, I've never had a problem getting it up.
Oh, interesting.
100% success rate.
Wow.
But what is more fascinating than that is that my reason for doing it had nothing to do with my erections. My reason for doing it was exactly what you told me, Dr. Tara, at the beginning of this podcast. You said, when my partner didn't get an erection, it didn't make me feel so good. Made me feel kind of crappy.
Cognitively, I understand it's not me, but you can't help but feel bad. Like I
Exactly.
understand ED, especially with these people that are like so eager to hook up with me. Like I understand it's not about me, like
Yeah.
cognitively, I completely understand. They're very attracted to me, but it's still like there's that 20% of like, oh, like that sucks,
I mean, there is no way that I could make myself more vulnerable than telling my potential partner I might not get an erection. That is the most vulnerable thing I could possibly say to
It
a
really
woman,
is.
especially a woman that I'm trying to seduce,
Yeah.
especially a woman that I want to get into bed with her.
Yeah.
And so I make this statement of massive vulnerability. My unconscious is behind me watching. And if the partner says, hey, no problem. Hey, like, that's fine. I'm really glad you told me. We're going to have fun no matter what we do. So then my unconscious is going to feel good and my erections are going to flow. And I think that making that statement has such an impact because, first of all, you take all the pressure off yourself. So you've just basically said, I'm not going to get an erection. That's the way it's going to be. So there's no more pressure on you to perform. You've sort of said, like, this is the way it's going to go tonight. You've taken all the pressure off her because now she doesn't feel like she's got to make sure that you get it up or that her techniques aren't what they are supposed to be. So that's also helpful. And then thirdly, you've created a space where you can have amazing sex without an erection.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So what's another good solution for ED?
Okay. So what I've been talking about with these first two solutions are things to do outside of the bedroom. But
Okay.
the first one is no blowjobs.
Oh, okay. Why?
Why? Because a blowjob is a high, it's sort of it's an interesting sex act, but it's kind of low on the intimacy scale. So if we're trying to ramp up intimacy and safety, like your eyes, it's tough to see each other. Your heads
But
are
your
far
penis is
apart.
literally in my mouth. There's no more.
Well, no, I think there is. I think there is one more intimate place for it to go. Actually,
That's true. That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
I think
Oh,
there
one
is.
or two more. Depends on
Maybe,
which
yeah,
hole
yeah.
you
Well,
like.
at least one. Yeah,
But okay,
yeah.
I see. It doesn't feel as emotionally intimate.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And I think it's also a high
Yeah, it
pressure
really is because
position.
it's focusing on the dick and it's like, oh, I'm
Exactly.
giving you a blowjob. It's hot. Why are you not hard? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
We get this message from porn. 100% of blowjobs lead to an erection. People, it's not like this. I'm sorry. In real
The
life,
truth is not.
like it is not like this. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see like the actual batting average on erections and blowjobs. I don't know if it's like
In
I don't know
real
what the
life,
number
right?
would be,
Yeah.
but it's certainly not 100%. Really good idea to give oral sex to your partner. So that's an
Oh.
excellent way to build intimacy and to create an environment that could be conducive for an erection. Because if you can give an orgasm or pleasure to your partner, you're going to feel good. Your unconscious is going to feel good. And there's been a number of times I know when I'm like, oh, okay, I know she's satisfied. Now I can let go and my erection flows that way too.
Wow.
So
Okay, I love that. Just biasly, I love that solution. But I can totally see it psychologically because it takes the pressure off you performing, but you just giving the pleasure. And when you give pleasure and she feels good, it definitely like confidence building.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow, these are
So
such
I've
good
got,
tips.
yeah,
You talk about the different types of erections, and I think you talk about three different types of erections. So, what are the three different types of erections?
the first one is an excitement erection.
Okay.
So I would say that the excitement erection is what it sounds like. You know, when you get sexually excited and you see a situation or a person that you feel good about, or that turns you on, or whatever. Is probably an erection that is more associated with younger men or boys. I mean, we've all had times when we got an erection when we even didn't want one because it was in
Mhm.
some public place, but we were excited by something.
Yeah.
And second one, I would call them connection erections. So that's when you want to be with somebody
It's like
and
deeper.
it's deeper, it's more emotional. And the third one is a control or power erection. So that's the kind of erection that you can get when you're in a dominant situation. It's also the kind of erection that men get when they watch porn because they're very much in control.
Thing. Yeah, because it's not connection.
No, it's
You're
definitely
not
not a
connecting
connection.
with
No,
anybody. How do you differentiate like the control erection and the excitement erection? Because it seems like similar things, right?
well, I think excitement is just you're excited. There's no power involved. There's no distinction between are you in a dominant position or are you in a controlling position? Where in a control erection, an example might be like you blindfolded your partner and you're feeding them strawberries or something like that. Like you're
Interesting.
definitely in control, and it is exciting, but there's this very obvious control element in it as well.
Okay, so can a guy choose what erection they get?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How do you
Absolutely.
choose an erection?
Well, I think it's the actions that you take leading up to it. That it's
Okay.
the choices that you make and the actions that you take leading up to it. And I think you can you can be in the you can be in the dating pool because you want to hook up and you're looking for more of an excitement type of situation, or you can be in the dating pool because you're looking to make a connection. And I would argue too that what I have learned in my sexual journey is that it is possible to be in a casual situation, to be in a hookup situation, that have highly intimate sex and
Yeah.
aim for that.
I've met actually quite a few people that I had casual sex with that was like amazing when I was like traveling. And I don't
Mhm.
think for I don't it depends on your sexual attitudes, right? Like if you have a restrictive sexual attitude, like your body is not going to let go. Like you're not going to be able to have that intimate, passionate, casual sex. But if your sexual attitude is a little bit more recreational and kind of like sex is, and you know, like a fun activity that I enjoy, then I think there's a little bit more room in your body to relax and to like really connect and enjoy with a casual sex partner. But all in all, I find this really interesting and I think it's really helpful for people. I also find it interesting because the solutions are not the solutions that I have heard.
For me, it really starts with this concept that an erection is an unconscious act.
Right.
And once you start there, and once you realize that you're not in control of your penis all the time, that there's
Right.
this little
It's its
animal,
own entity.
yeah, it's really this own entity, and you've got this thing at the back of your head that is your unconscious,
Yeah.
that is sort of
Do you have a
feel.
name for your penis?
No, not really.
Oh,
Not really, but I'm
maybe you
pretty
give
happy
him a
with it.
name.
Maybe you can do
talk
that.
about him in your book using his name proper.
Maybe I'll
Ooh.
do that in the next edition.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the last segment of my show is called 5 Quickies with Dr. Tara, where I give you a word and you give me a quick response back.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am as ready as I can be.
Okay, number 1, blowjobs.
Not on the first date if you're having erection difficulties.
Number 2, choking.
Why?
Maybe she likes it.
Maybe she does.
Number 3, diaper kink.
You know who does diaper kink? People that haven't had kids yet. Because once you have babies a couple times, that kink is like, it's out of there, man. You don't need to do that anymore.
Number 4, open relationships.
Needs some more questioning.
And okay, number 5, erectile dysfunction.
I would say poorly named.
Ooh.
That you're when you don't get an erection, your penis is telling you something about your physical health or your emotional connection, and it's functioning just fine. Of course, we all want to get erections when we want them to, but listen to your penis and you're going to ultimately get those erections and have better, more pleasurable sex.
Listen to your penis, boys. Awesome. Where can my Luvbites fam find you?
You can find me on Instagram, which would be great. So my name there is Will N. Richards. Great information there. If you came to this podcast to look for information on ED, I would definitely recommend that you check out this book, because it just gives a great overview for anyone who's exploring their sexuality, has great questions in it, and put together by a great communicator. So awesome. Yeah, check that out too.
Thank you, Will. And thank you so much, my Luvbites fam, for listening to this episode until the end of the episode as well. I love you guys. And per usual, have an orgasmic day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This was Luvbites. Luvbites by Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.